Welcome to the Cash Flow Project Podcast. Are you looking to better your financial situation by increasing your cash flow? Too busy to hunt for real estate deals or don't know where to start? Then you're in the right spot. Join us as we dive in and talk about investing for cash flow using multifamily real estate.
Welcome to another episode of the Cash Flow Project. I'm your host, Vince Gethings from Tri-City Equity Group. And today on the show, we have Anthony Scandariato. He's the co-founder and managing principal of Red Knight Properties. Red Knight Properties is a privately held boutique, multifamily, and mixed-use real estate investment and property management company with a track record of building and managing portfolios that deliver dependable cash flow and equity upside. They currently have over 700 units in over 4 different states, with about $80 million in assets under management currently. Anthony, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Vince. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Absolutely. So yeah, tell us a bit about yourself outside the bio. Where are you based out of? What are the different asset classes you invest in? What's your strategy? And we'll get right into it.
Sure, definitely. So again, thank you for having me on. I'm based in the Northeast, actually about 45 minutes outside of New York City, west in New Jersey. As you mentioned, we're currently in 4 different states, which include up and down the East Coast. So that includes my home state of New Jersey, New York State, Pennsylvania, and Florida. So we're kind of up and down the East Coast and kind of privy to that. Before starting my firm, Red Knight Properties, I actually worked for another real estate sponsor for about 6 years. We were buying multi-tenant investment grade Class A office, and we were doing all value add, kind of, repositioning, re-tenanting, maybe, Class B office that we would take to Class A over a short period of time. And I really loved the business model. They were partnering with others to grow their empire and to help, their investor pool grow their empire as well. I really liked that business model. So I saw what they were doing. I started buying some smaller deals while I worked for the firm on my own, just with my own capital, just so I can learn by myself. 2 families. I ended up buying and basically fixing and flipping and did well with that. And a few buy and holds that I still own today. We're talking 2 to 4 families within my immediate neighborhood. So as soon as I realized the power of real estate and the passive income that it could generate for you, I just was hooked. So from there on, I still obviously kept my full-time job, was still learning and doing very large deals. I helped kind of double the size of that company's portfolio I worked for over that time period. And, I learned a lot there. I learned everything from acquisitions, property management, asset management, development, anything on the lending side, anything, vendor related, negotiating contracts, construction management, project management, you name it. So I saw a lot while I was there. And I ended up meeting my business partner through a mutual colleague of mine. And, we were both very interested in doing a little bit larger deals. So we ended up partnering together, got to know each other for a few months and ended up buying a 10 unit. So I went from basically a 2 to a 2 with the partner, then to a 10 unit. And then him and I together bought about 70 units. That was between 2018 to end of 2019. And we ended up, doing a cash out refi on pretty much all of them, executing on our business plan. And, we were comfortable to take on outside capital and do some larger deals. So I ended up doing that kind of late 2019 on a 50 unit complex. So we went from basically 2s to 10s to 50s. And that was a local deal in New Jersey. We ended up doing really well with it, but that was our first one where we, felt comfortable enough and wanted to provide investment opportunities for our inner network. So that's, to make a long story short, that's how, it's where I came from. And that's kind of, where I am today. And now we're up to, as you said, almost 700 units in 4 different states.
Got it. So your full-time, I guess your W-2 was at that original firm. That was like your first full-time job?
Yeah. So I ended up buying that first syndicated deal. It was actually closed on December 31st of 2019. So what ended up happening was I was gone January 1st, 2020, from the full-time job. I didn't feel, I'm a younger guy. I'm in my, I guess I'm a young guy. I'm, in my late 20s and felt comfortable and really wanted to pursue this full-time. I didn't feel right either taking investor capital and kind of half-assing it, in my opinion, not really being all in. So, ended up leaving. I had another deal actually under contract at the time I left. So I felt a little bit more comfortable. It was almost like, oh, I'm going into another job right away. And, what I would say is what really helped was the experience of kind of building the portfolio just through a simple joint venture with, my partner, with our own money to help kind of build up that cash flow stream to feel comfortable when, you are going to take the plunge and, young guy, not married, no kids, a little bit easier than someone that has that situation. So wanted to take advantage of that at the time and felt like if I never left, or if I didn't leave now, it would be much harder for me in whatever, few years. So decided to take the risk, and yeah, that's where we are now. So it was kind of, like I said, almost a lateral move for me at the time, but then obviously grew. It's still a lot of risk, but to me, it wasn't the risk profile of moving over wasn't that scary because we had things lined up.
Good. Yeah, I like it. So yeah, a lot of people never make that jump. I know a lot of people that have full-time jobs, good paying jobs, and they might have, a couple handful of rentals like duplexes, like you were saying. But they never, like the risk of like quitting the full-time, security blanket of a W-2 to do it full-time just petrifies people into inaction. I would say 9 out of 10 people never get past, 2 or 3 rentals because they can't leave the W-2. And that's fine. It's not for everybody. I completely understand that. But I guess what was for your, recapping, it's like the risk of not making that jump was more, right? Is kind of what it sounded like.
And it's a good, point. A lot of people struggle to kind of make the leap. And, they kind of asked me, for advice, like, how did you do it? Like, why did you feel comfortable? And like I said, the reason was I had things lined up. I wasn't going blind into, oh, I'm going to start this company and yada, yada. You already built the foundation, over time. And a lot of people could do that, whether they're passively investing with a sponsor or, like you said, they're buying, a few rental properties, here and there kind of on the side. Just keep building that up until you feel comfortable. And, I would definitely try to live within or below your means, at least as in the building stages go. I mean, I bought a house hack, which, basically you live in one of the units, multifamily property, put down 5 to 10%. You live in one of the units and you rent out the others. And I'm still in that house and I live for free. So creative ways to try to, minimize your expenses. Obviously, and to be honest with you, I met people later in life that are in their mid 40s. They have 3 kids. They're married. Their kids are, teenage years, and they want to take the plunge, and they end up doing it, and they end up kind of sacrificing a little bit. But the reality is, a couple of years later, they really take a trajectory where they weren't before. So it's all about taking the risk, but it's a calculated risk too. And I would say the more foundation that you kind of lay up until that point, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So it wasn't all, rainbows and sunshine, right? So there had been some obstacles, there had been some kind of setbacks during those first couple deals. So do you have any kind of stories or lessons learned on, I don't know if either the duplexes or fourplexes or that first 10 unit, or maybe even the first syndication, that first 50 unit, kind of things that you hit or you weren't prepared for, even with the background of being in a real estate firm, there's probably something that happened.
The biggest mistake that I had when I was first starting to grow and build the multifamily portfolio was not really having good systems in place. We had 70 units that my partner and I owned that we kind of tracked on an Excel spreadsheet every month where anybody paid rent. We would just kind of track it on there. And we were going to the post office every day. The tenants would mail rent to the post office. We have like 70 checks in our mailbox. It's just crazy. So we learned real quickly, you got to be able to utilize some technology in order to really scale, because I think a lot of people get stuck. I mean, I know people who have been in the business for 10, 15 years, and they may only own, I met a guy the other week, he owns 20 units in New York State. He's kind of retired. And he told me, he goes every single month to go collect the rent. And I said, why don't you have like a better system? You don't have a property management software. You don't have anything. He's like, oh, I never looked into it. It's kind of expensive, blah, blah, blah. The reality is, if you really want to grow, I don't knock on tenants' doors. I mean, I did to learn in the beginning. But at some point, if you really want to grow in this industry, you have to systematize. So I think that was a mistake. I didn't have the greatest systems in the beginning, but kind of learned over time how to set those up.
So what are your favorite, and that's a very important point, is most people become their own bottlenecks and they don't realize it, because they're to the point of the older gentleman, everything just looks expensive. Like, oh, I can't have another expense. I'm like, but if you can't see 2 or 3 steps ahead, like you're your own bottleneck, like you can't grow because you're trying to do everything. So you have to systematize. You're right. So after that kind of this conscious moment of like, okay, we need to get this straightened up if we want to grow. What are your favorite systems now? Like, what are your probably best ROI habits or systems or processes that you have that you recommend?
We have a system for everything. So we have, we have maintenance technicians now. And the thing I learned quickly too is to buy larger deals, because you can have staff, you can have a maintenance guy, you can have a leasing person. So we, the best system obviously that we implemented as a company was just a workflow system. So we use Microsoft Teams. We have property management software called Buildium, which kind of manages collections and manages communications, manages leasing and manages accounting. So that was another one. And then on the investor relations side, we have basically a syndication software. We use InvestNext. That's really good.
Yeah, kind of use InvestNext. It's good.
Yeah, it's really good. Actually, he's out of Michigan, or was from Michigan, one of the founders. And he, really good platform, kind of built that into our website and our back end as well. Managing, distributions, especially when you have a large number of investors that start to invest with you and partner with you. You got to be able to track that. You're not going to be able to use Excel. And I know companies that still use Excel, and I don't know how you do it. I know companies, when they pay distributions out, they physically they sign off on their check, and then they physically go to the post office and they put it, they send it and they write down the address. It's all automated, and it's not that, like you said, it's you got to look at, there's going to be an expense to it, but what's your time worth?
Yeah.
Really understand what your time is worth. Where is it going to, allow you to go in your business? So those few systems really helped us grow. We have a virtual post office too. So I'm sorry, I forgot to say this, but we do property management in-house.
Okay.
So we manage even the ones out of state. So we have a whole system set up for it, and a whole company kind of built out. We use a virtual post office. So if a tenant sends rent, I literally get it right on my phone, and then we can just put it right in our account. And then our bookkeeper, we have a bookkeeper on staff. Bookkeeper puts it in our property management software. It's recorded, done. So, you got to have really good systems in place in order to help you scale. That's efficient. So those are just a few.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of those questions that you need to ask yourself is like, okay, what are my $1,000 an hour activities, right? And then it's like, okay, well, acquisitions, right? So acquisitions, networking, right? Finding new, with brokers, with possible investors or collaborators or partners, something like that. Like those are the one that, like, that's where you want to spend your time as an investor. And then everything else needs to get like systematized and delegated, because they're not $1,000 activities. Like if you can hire a VA to screen mail or whatever it is for $10 an hour, like you should not be doing that task at all. And good exercise is kind of start with, maybe an Excel sheet or something like that, and just list down, okay, all the activities that I do on a daily basis, what ones are bringing value to my company, what ones are growing my company, are actively, pushing my company to the next level, and what ones are just kind of the busy work of running a company. Those are the ones you want to write SOPs for, standard operating procedures and the processes, identify the systems that you're going to use to automate them, and then delegate it to somebody else, like a VA or somebody else, so you can focus on the things that move the needle. And I think that's one of the things that people need to the only way to do that is like you have to kind of like step back and look at your company from like the top, like, from a couple hundred feet above the entire company to really like see the whole picture. And a lot of people, they're so, especially entrepreneurs, we got our head down to the grindstone and we're just grinding every day, that it's hard to kind of lift yourself up and like actually see, what activities you're doing that's actually moving the needle versus just the busy work of the day to day. So it's awesome you're able to do that very quickly. Most people, like you said, I've met more people like that older gentleman that they've had their 20 units for 10, 15 years and they can't figure out why, being a landlord sucks. Like they just like, this is just the life of a landlord. And that was actually one of a quick kind of story here is like, I did the same thing you did. So I started with duplexes and fourplexes. I had 20 units. And I started hitting that bottleneck, that wall where I couldn't scale, that plateau. And I was at a meetup, area in Sacramento, and there was an older gentleman there. He's like, man, in another like 10, 20 years, you can retire if you keep stacking up these duplexes. He's like, you just need like 60 more of them. And I was like, hold on, light bulb. I'm like, this isn't right. Like, this isn't efficient way for financial freedom is to stack up 80 duplexes in the Midwest. So that's when I was like, I immediately like wiped the board clean, went online. I was like, okay, I need to scale faster. What is the right vehicle? And then same thing as you, large multifamily, immediately got a partnership and bought a 52 unit C-class reposition. So almost like the same kind of trajectory of the thought process. So it's not like, it's not that crazy. Like I see so many people that kind of have the same aha moment. They start with the small stuff, realize it's not scalable, and then realize that large multifamily, either on the sponsor side or the passive side, either way is the way to go. If you want that, that good risk adjusted return and scalability.
Absolutely.
So let's start kind of winding down here. What kind of advice do you have for somebody new looking into real estate? Maybe they've done a house hack like you did. Maybe they went on Bigger Pockets. They found went to Brandon Turner's book and found the low, no money down, and did the FHA house hack on a fourplex. Right? They awesome opportunity in this country that we have tools like that to start people off. But then what? Right? You can't keep stacking up loans on your personal credit, because then your credit's going to go to crap and your DTI is going to go up to 70% like it did for me. And then you realize, okay, that doesn't work either. You can't just have 10 loans on your personal credit. So what advice do you have for somebody that's kind of getting into real estate?
Yeah, I mean, I would just try to figure out, like you said, if you're starting out and you bought your first house hack, I mean, that's basically how I started, and it sounds like similar to you. That's a great path. And then, if you're kind of getting stuck, and then I kind of, after a couple of deals, I kind of got stuck in pretty much until I met my partner. But just figure out what part of the business do you want to be on? Do you actually want to manage the properties and be active, or do you want to, partner with somebody like yourself, Vince, or like my company, to kind of take over all the management and pretty much everything and get mostly the same benefits by just cutting a check, whatever, $50,000, whatever it is, and just kind of reaping the benefits and then growing that way and still working your job, or still kind of building up both. Like for me, I do both now. I invest in the deals and then I actively manage. So, it's good to have a diversification with that too. So just figure out what part of the business you want to be on. If you're not sure, there's lots of different resources, podcasts, like this one. I have a podcast too called Discovering Multifamily, which Vince is also a guest on. So, there's a lot of different resources to get educated. And, like you said, not one path fits everybody, but I think you'll figure it out. You may, starting out with that duplex or whatever, you may realize very quickly that being a landlord is not for you, and you'd rather just cut a check and partner with smart and good people and kind of build your portfolio that way. I have people who have done that with me. Actually, they actually start out. Let's say they come into one of the deals that I bring out, they invest, and then we send out monthly updates. Like I kind of go a little bit too far, but it's just what we do. And they see what we're doing, and they really like it. And they're like, "Wow, I'm learning a lot from your reports and whatnot, financial reports, deal reports." We tell what the hell's going on with the occupancy, what's going on with the CapEx plan, what's going on with the rent raises, what's going on with the OpEx reductions every single month. So they kind of get educated and they feel confident enough to buy something on their own. So there's very different situations for each individual. But yeah, I would just say just get educated is number one.
Got it. Get educated. That's good. Tons of free resources out there for that as well. Either free or paid, however, which way you want to go. What was the biggest mistake you've made so far?
Yeah, kind of talking about it before, not having good systems. I think the second biggest mistake, not having, as you start to grow, you have to hire more people, and that's hard, especially for maintenance jobs and leasing jobs. So you just have to have good people on the ground. And we've had some issues, even though everything's worked out. It's just, we didn't have the right people from the start, and we learned to screen them a little bit more appropriately than in the past.
Yep. Right people in the right seats. Very important. And then having the KPIs, like performance KPIs that they know, so they have the buy-in and you can hold them accountable and they hold themselves accountable. All part of that systems, right? Love it. Sure. All right. Let's get over to the fire round, and then kind of have any last comments before the fire round.
Do that again.
So we're going to transition over to the fire round, and I want to see if you have any kind of last bit of information or stuff for our listeners before we get over to the fire round.
No, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So same questions we ask everybody. What is the best book you recommend other than Rich Dad Poor Dad?
I don't even think that's the best book. So it's not really a business book, but Miracle Morning is really
love
great.
It. Yeah, Hal Elrod, great book. Yeah. And then he has like a bunch of them now, but the Miracle Morning was it for real estate investors or real estate millionaires or something like that with the guy from GoBundance. That's a really good one as well. It's like a part two to that. Miracle Morning, great book. What is your superpower?
My superpower, that's a good one. I think I don't know. I have a knack for a lot of people, especially the past couple of years, are like, how do you find good deals? How do you find good deals? I think we have a knack for networking with the right brokers and making them trust us and sending us the good opportunities before they send it to anybody else. So I think that's a little bit of a superpower.
Good stuff. So networking and getting on the broker short list. I get that question a lot too. I know it's supposed to be fire round, but yeah, that is a good one. You want to build rapport. Right? You want to build authentic rapport. You want to stay top of mind with your brokers and develop a system to do that. And for us, we automate that as well. Like I have an entire CRM just for my brokers, which it pops up every morning. What broker I need to call because it's been 3 weeks since I talked to them. And because you got to stay top of mind with the brokers, they get so many calls a day from everybody all over the country or sometimes even the world. If it's a bigger firm and you want to stay top of mind, that's how you're going to get those pocket listings and get that intel, the whisper prices, and the intel on the sellers and stuff like that. Is staying top of mind and building that authentic rapport with a broker. So great superpower to have.
Yes.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned over your career? I think we've already answered that like 3 times. Systems and processes, right? Do you have anything else?
There's a lot of different lessons, but just always be open and open to learning new things. I mean, if you're not learning, then you're dying. So definitely continue to learn. And no matter what your age is, you don't know everything. I certainly don't. And always trying to be around smarter people than me to try to learn from them. Love it.
Good stuff. And for the busy working professional who's working toward financial freedom, what advice or tips do you have?
Yeah, like I kind of said, pick a vehicle. Real estate is a great vehicle. At least for me, it's really transformed my life. I'm not as knowledgeable with the crypto. I don't understand it, so I don't have anything in that. And even the stock market, I don't have much in there either. But pick a vehicle that you're passionate about and that you understand, and kind of leverage that to kind of build upon your life trajectory, and pick something that interests you, because I certainly don't like reading, 50 different 10Ks on, individual stocks. So it's just not something I'm interested in, day trading. So I really like the real estate, and you can build a business around it too. So just pick one avenue that will help get you there.
Absolutely. Love it. All right. Well, that's all we have for this episode here. Is great talking with you. Love the comments on systems and processes. How can our listeners reach out to you?
Yeah, we have, if you go to our website, redknightproperties.com, that's Red Knight with a K, we have this special report. You talked about financial independence. It's called How to Leave Your 9 to 5 Through Real Estate or Financial Independence. Go to our website. You can actually download that for free. It's a short ebook. I'll provide it to you. And then once you get that ebook, it'll have all my contact info. But also you can just easily find me, Anthony Scandariato, or Red Knight Properties on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, pretty much every social platform, excluding TikTok.
Love it. All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And a great episode with Anthony there, showing you how you can scale out of a W-2 up to, you said, like $80 million in assets under management in just a couple of years. Great progress. And it's all because of systems and process. I know it gets redundant talking about that. It's like they're, buzzwords, but it really is the way to freedom is taking the time to systematize, create SOPs, start delegating down so you can focus on the things that move the needle, the actions that move the needle in your company, and your growth will literally explode in a very short amount of time. So definitely just don't take the whole system process as a buzzwords that everybody says. It really matters. It's that important. But anyway, if you're interested in learning more about passive investing, go to tricityequitygroup.com and download our free guide. We'd love to set up a call with you and chat, see how we can help you achieve your goals. Reach out to us on our Facebook group, Honolulu Multifamily and More. If you found value in this podcast, please subscribe, leave a good review for us on however you're listening to this, Stitcher, Apple, or wherever. And if you know anyone that will resonate with our podcast, please share it with them. We're trying to grow our community here, reach more people, and continue to grow and share our message, share this amazing investment vehicle, multifamily real estate, with as many people as possible. Additionally, we have our big event coming up, the Hawaii Millionaires Mindset Conference, codenamed the Blueprint. It's going to be in Honolulu, Hawaii. We want to see you out there July 21st, 24th, 2022. So it's coming up here in a few months. It's at the beautiful resort, Four Seasons Resort, Ko'olina, Hawaii. We're going to have industry leaders for multifamily, for short-term rentals, for crypto investing, for business franchising, everything that we do in Tri-City. We're bringing the people that help us build our companies, sharing that with you, sharing our best practices. And it's at Ko'olina. So bring your family. They have a Disney Alani next door. It's going to be the event of the summer for 22. We want to see you out there at the Hawaii Millionaire Mindset Conference, the Blueprint. All right. See you next time.